Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Brocast. This is my relaunch of the Brocast. It's been in a bit of a stagnant state for a little while, but I'm bringing it back. And the way that there's no real schedule on it. I'm making podcasts the way I want, the way I want to make them. I want to be more structured in the way that I'm making podcasts. With certain topics. I kind of want to go through the news, what we're playing, what we're excited to play, all those topics. Mainly it'll be me talking to myself, talking to you, the viewer, but it'll also be me talking to a majority of other people while I'm playing games. We'll probably have we'll throw up some cooperative footage of us playing games, or even just us chatting and having some random gameplay over the back. But it's not necessarily about the games that we are talking about. It's about us connecting and talking about what topics are going on within the news at the minute. So today, I'll give you kind of a bit of a rundown of what's going to happen on the show. Well, I'm going to call it a show now because it's going to be called the Brocast. I was thinking about renaming the podcast to maybe Blast from the Cast. I was thinking about Cloudy with a Chance of Salt or something along those lines, but I enjoy the Brocast. It's just something simple, something easy to remember, and yeah, I just enjoy it. So I'm going to try and get people to come on, but majority of the time it'll probably be me, and the lengths of the podcast will change. You can dip in and out. You don't have to watch it all the way through. If you can listen. I want to see how hard it is to get it up on iTunes. If I can get it up on iTunes, that's great. That means I can kind of get it on a different platform, be able to do it with a lot of different people. So we will have regulars that have been on the Brocast before. George, who is a big regular, he will definitely be coming back to do episodes. We might get Brad back on. We might get Alex on. I might have a couple of friends from college that I'd love to bring on, even as individuals or just in general. We'll talk about lots of different things, whether that will be movies, TV, film. No, film and movies are the same thing. What I'm on about. Video games, what we're playing. Maybe even talking about sporting events, that type of thing. I'm kind of keeping it open-ended. I don't really want to limit myself in what I want to talk about. I'm big inspired by Joe Rogan's podcast and also the True Geordie podcast. They are two that I watched very regularly. Also, there's a couple of channels like on Rooster Teeth. There's The Know and also Funhouse that do their podcasts, which are really fun to listen to. They kind of give me ideas of things that I want to do, things that I want to talk about. So yeah, today I haven't really got a plan, but usually the way that the podcast would work is I'd sit down, we'd chat for around about an hour and a half, but when I'm talking to George, we can kind of talk for 2 hours, so it will be varied in length. It can be anywhere. The cut-off point for me is around about 2 hours. So I like listening. I can listen to it. Even my own podcasts that I listen to, I can only listen to. I can't listen to them all the way through. I listen to them in bit parts when I'm on the move, when I'm going traveling somewhere, or I'm doing anything. So it's just one of those things. So today, I'm going to be talking about a couple of different things. It's not really as structured. The main structure of the show would be we'd get in, we'd introduce ourselves, I'd introduce the guests, and I would basically ask them what they've been playing, what they've been up to, what's going on in their life, etc. So, kind of general podcast things. And then we would hop right into the news and give out each other's opinions. What the general topic of the day would be, whether that be game genres, where RPGs are going. For example, today I'm going to be talking about the release schedule leading up to Christmas, my opinions on just a little short opinions on the games that are coming out, and also where where certain games may be going. That's kind of where the topics are going today. But there could be anything. There could be singular topics where we talk about a singular game and how they relate to other games. and the way that the systems have worked, and it kind of like give like mini reviews on how we feel the games are working. But also, we'll do that for films, maybe. We'll do that for a lot of different things. Then, towards the end of the episode, or toward the end of the show, we'll talk about, maybe what's coming up in the next week, maybe even just talking about a generalized topic, and going from there, seeing where the thoughts take us, we could say. So today, I'd like to talk about the release schedule leading up to Christmas. As I take a quick drink. But I'd also like to talk about my EGX experience, which should take me up to about half an hour. If I'm doing this by myself and I haven't got a guest on, I'll generally keep the episodes of the show to around about half an hour. So you can come back in at different points. Maybe I'll do live versions. I don't know. I just really want to start talking about things, and I don't want to limit myself to a 10-minute slot. If I get rolling on the topic, I just want to talk about it. Just want to get all my ideas and thoughts about it, because sometimes I feel like in a 10-minute slot for a specific topic of a game, I have to make maybe 3 videos to kind of get the point across that I'm trying to make. So yeah, today, as I've said, we're going to talk about the release schedule. And we'll start right back in September, because at the moment we are in October, and I want to kind of just give my thoughts and opinions on some games that have already come out. And we'll kind of go from there. So if we look back, let me just. I've got my computer in front of me, so I'm kind of see where things are. So if we go to, let me scroll down the page and get to September, because September for me is the month of where things start to really kick off, and the big AAA titles start to come out. But this year, it started a little bit earlier, and it started in August. I mean, we had, for example, what was it? The Lost Legacy for Uncharted. Alongside that, we had Madden NFL and F1 2017. Ark also moved in from early access into a full game. We also had Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Haven't played it. Really want to play it though. There was XCOM War of the Chosen. And I think the last game was also Life is Strange Before the Storm, which also came out in September. In August. Then we'll move on to the bigger game. We'll move on to September. So we had Knack 2, Destiny 2. I'll talk about that in a moment. We had releases of the sports game, or the particular sports games. So Pro Evolution, NBA, NBA Live 18, NBA 2K17, or NBA 2K18, NHL 18, FIFA 18, everything with an 18, put it in there. We had Divinity, Original Sin 2, Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Dragon Ball Z, Xenoverse 2 moved onto the Switch, Gold and Silver was released for the 3DS, Project Cars, Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition was released. We also had, right at the end of the month, which we've got Total War Warhammer 2 and Cuphead. Moving into August, moving into October, we have Forza Motorsport 7, Stardew Valley hit the Switch. Cannot wait to get my hands on that. Middle of Earth Shadow of Mordor is coming out tomorrow, or the day of the podcast. And then also Dragon's Dogma Dark Horizon's already out. And then Friday we will have Evil Within 2. So that is what we've seen so far. Now, my thoughts and opinions so far is every month has had a fairly decent showing from August. Or it's probably going to have a decent showing all the way up to Christmas. And I like that. I like having the choice of games. But I also, as a gamer myself, I get backlogged with a lot of different things that I want to play. There's a lot of things that are on my list of stuff to play, of what I want to play, what I want to beat. And then it kind of adds up of things that I like to beat over the next couple of months. And then eventually, when there's like a down period, maybe in the middle of 2018, I kind of go through like I did with this year in the summary period of 2017. I was beating games every week, and it was fun because I was able to just knock them out, get the game done, and then move on to the next one. Enjoy my experience, and move on. So, thoughts and opinions of any notable games that have came out leading up to where we are right now. So, if we look at Destiny 2, Destiny 2 has taken a really, really good formula that they had, expanded on it with a story, expanded on it with better content, and expanded on it with more things to do during a week that are more enjoyable, and it makes you want to keep coming back to the game and not forget about it. At the moment, I'm juggling about 4 games. I'm juggling FIFA 18, Destiny, Overwatch on consoles, and also NBA as well. They're kind of scattered around in there. And then I've got my list of games that I'm trying to beat. But I might do a separate podcast talking about Destiny 2 and write down my thoughts and opinions of some of those over the next couple of days, because we're leading up to Iron Banner being released, we're leading up to the Prestige Raid being released, and we're also leading up to the first expansion, which might lead me to talk about Destiny 2 a little bit more closer to that point. Divinity Original Sin 2. I've only played, if I just pull up my Steam library really, really quick, I have played a grand total of 2 hours on the game, so I can't really give full thoughts and opinions, but I have a friend that I'd love to get on and talk about it, and he has played about 30 hours of the game, and he's really, really enjoying it. He says it's one of the best RPGs he's ever played, so I hold him by that until I've obviously played it myself. It's one of those things that you have to put hours into a game before I can really give an opinion. There are certain games which I know from watching, because I haven't been able to really... A lot of times I spend watching games, being beaten, speedrun, streamers playing them, to give me an idea of how I feel, whether or not I want to justify my purchase, and not just wasting money for the sake of money. But then again, I am just... When video games are out, you just want to buy everything. NBA 2K18... is the best sports game on the market, in my personal opinion. The stuff that they do within the game is incredible. They expand on it year on year. They make it one of the most realistic simulations of a game to date, and they just keep expanding on it year by year. FIFA 18 is another one. FIFA 18 is another one that... Sorry, just having if you hear like a pause silence, it's me getting a drink, because, you know, you need moisture in your mouth when you're talking a lot. But FIFA 18 is probably going to be the best for Ultimate Team. Once again, they haven't really expanded too much on career mode. They've added a new feature to it, but it's no big ultimate change. It's all focused around Ultimate Team, and that's just what keeps people playing the game repeatedly. Haven't had a chance to play Total War Warhammer 2. I am playing Total War Warhammer at the moment, and I'm thoroughly enjoying that. I'm loving getting into strategy games. So War of the Chosen is definitely going to be up there for a game that I would like to play. Even just XCOM in general. And then looking forward to it, even though Forza is out at the minute, I probably will be picking it up with my Xbox One X in November, alongside Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. And I'm fingers crossed, from the review, Shadow of War really expands on the first game and makes it a lot more diverse, adds more like a gear-based type system, you know, adds more loot, all those type of different things that really were quite successful about the first game. Forza is another racing sim. I'll probably play that for about 3 hours and trade it in. Not that I don't have any respect for those type of games, but, you know, Stardew Valley I'm really interested in. I'm probably going to pick it up when I have a little bit of spare cash for games that I would like to purchase within that time. So I'd love to pick up Stardew Valley and play it on my Switch, because it seems like it's got very good reviews on all the systems, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing that. So With that being said, I am going to move on to the rest of the games that are coming out for the rest of October, into November, and into December. So, 13th of October, this Friday, we have Evil Within 2. We have Rogue Trooper Redux. We have South Park The Fractured Butthole, which I think is going to be fantastic. I loved Stick of Truth. Stick of Truth really blew my mind with the things that they were trying to do story-wise. And it was just really fun. It was basically a South Park episode in a video game. WWE 2K18, I've not really played them. I know someone that has. Fire Emblem Warriors comes out the 20th of October. I haven't played any others, but it looks interesting. Destiny 2 is obviously releasing on PC. And then the end of the month is a stellar. We have 3 games coming out in one day, which is a Friday nonetheless. We have Super Mario Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. Really stellar AAA titles. Wolfenstein was incredible. I got a chance to play Assassin's Creed at EGX. Also, Wolfenstein: The New Order was very, very good, so hopefully the New Colossus expands on that. And Super Mario Odyssey, I have faith that Nintendo are able to knock that out of the park quite easily with how good that game should be. But then we move into November. November has got a shorter list because there's more games tend to get announced the closer to the time. But we have a pretty stellar list of games. We have Call of Duty World War II, Super Lucky's Tale, Need for Speed Payback, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Elder Scrolls Skyrim for the Switch, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, Star Wars Battlefront, and Vampire. So let's do that. Call of Duty World War II, the beta was really fun. Gets really back into what Call of Duty is, multiplayer. And I'm super excited to see the story mode on that game, as a lot of people don't really care. But I'd love to get back to just playing some run and gun multiplayer. No, really, apart from playing domination or search, objective-based game types. But I'd love to just get back into running and gunning again, and that's what I'm looking forward to with Call of Duty. Super Lucky's Tale looks interesting. Probably not as interesting it could be for me. Need for Speed Payback, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. I love the Lego games. Can't really go wrong. Skyrim, critically acclaimed. Everyone knows that. Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Haven't completed Pokemon Sun yet, so can't really give an opinion on what those games are going to be like. It's probably just a rehash of the same game with more monsters. No, with more Pokemon, basically. Battlefront has just finished its open beta, and it was very, very fun. Very, very limited with what you could do, but there's probably going to be so much content in that game for multiplayer that I'm going to be playing that for quite a few hours, and it's going to be taking the time away from me playing Overwatch over the next 3 weeks, maybe. Before the Christmas period drops for Overwatch and that type of event. Then we move into December. December has a very, very short list as well, because there's not been many games announced, but there's Dead Rising 4, Frank's Big Package, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Doom for the PSVR, Steep Road to the Olympics, Hello Neighbor is going out of early access now, I think, and staying on PC, and also coming to Xbox One, Fallout VR, and also the Gold Edition of Resident Evil 7. So that is pretty much the games. I'm on GameSpot, so those are the games that are the big AAA titles that are coming out towards the end of the year. What I can say about some of the games is that I'm excited. I have had a chance to play them a little bit more in depth over the last couple of weeks. For example, Star Wars Battlefront I played at EGX, and it was very fun there. And it was pretty much the same as what I'd played at EGX, except I had more hours within within the game, basically. And also games like Assassin's Creed was very, very good. So move on to the next segment. We can say one thing is, what have I been playing? So what have I been playing at the minute? Kind of had my hands in a lot of different pies, or my fingers in a lot of different games, or my hands all over the place, playing a lot of different games, enjoying my time. being a gamer at the minute, because there's so many different games to play, I kind of get caught up on playing one game and then move on to a different game and forget about the other ones and stuff. So yeah, I've kind of made like a checklist of things that I need to do before I buy new games, or I start a new game, you could say. And that would be the main one that I'll probably put the most time into leading up to the podcast is Destiny 2. I'd say I've got... I'll actually bring up my thing on my phone, but I've probably got maybe 50 to 60 hours already within Destiny 2. Also, FIFA has also taken a bit of my time doing the squad battles, but I'm not playing it this week because they update the game, and the update's a little bit sketchy at the minute with shooting, and I'm not a big fan of the computer dominating me when it comes to the squad battles. Cuphead's just been released. I've only replayed that on co-op, which is something that I need to play a little bit more. I'm probably going to hop on to record literally as this podcast finishes. I will record stuff for the podcast, so it's kind of like I'm a Inception. So I'm like, this gameplay that you're watching is me after recording this, and then me recording that. So yeah, you get to see me fail a little bit at some games. I might just hop on Destiny and run around and put some gameplay of that around, so it kind of gives me an idea of things to do. But other games that I have played, I've been playing a lot of Total War Warhammer. I've got around 14 hours in, and when I started playing it last week, because I couldn't play it before because my computer would crash because I had a problem with my computer, I've got up to 14 hours. I played 12 hours, and very, very fun. I enjoyed it at the minute, enjoying making up different strategies and stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to getting through that game and moving on to Total War Warhammer 2, which I've read the reviews for, and it seems like they've nailed quite a lot of things in that game that they need to just tweak up a little bit, and I haven't really explored them enough on Total Warhammer 1 to figure out how much of a difference there is. So if we look at my Destiny 2 time played, I have got 95 hours. I thought I had 60. I've got 95 hours played at the minute. I have someone on top of my friends list has already got 378 hours on the game. I kind of flip between playing games. FIFA 18, I've already got 37 hours on. I've played a bit of NBA, got 22 hours on that. And Overwatch is just embarrassing for me. It's a stat that I don't really want to show. It's 718 hours on that game. So let's just not talk about that, because I'm sure there's other games that have got more on it. So what will we be talking about in the next couple of days? I don't know. The podcast is going to go in hopefully in a direction that I really want it to go. Myself personally, I want to go into video journalism. I'd like to express my thoughts and opinions. I like to play a lot of different games. I enjoy the different aspects and different control schemes, the different designs of different games, and it makes me want to go into the industry. I also would like to be an animator, which is kind of like a secondary thing I would like to do. But yeah, that's something that will happen within the next few years, because I'm currently taking a games development course at college, and I'm really enjoying that. I've made quite a lot of friends that are interested within the same things that I am, so I'd love to get them on the podcast. I'd love to sit down and just have a chat with them about anything, because we do have some really good discussions in chat on Discord and also at college, which, you know, it can happen when you just get talking about something that you're passionate about. You can get heated, you can get very not political, I couldn't say the right word, but you can get defensive about certain games like I am. But that's just the being passionate about something, isn't it? Another thing that I would like to say is that I hope you guys do enjoy watching this podcast if you've made it this far. I'm only going for about half an hour at the minute, because it's kind of me just riffing off myself, making sure I'm on things. At the moment, I haven't really planned this podcast out, but in future there will be a little bit more meticulously planned, and I will have more notes written down to kind of go from, which is good, because within the time of me having like a day or two off of me recording the podcast, it means that I can make sure I'm a bit more prepared. I can kind of make sure I have a guest to have someone to talk to, because when you talk to somebody else, and I'm not just talking to a microphone like I am right now, it is very much more of an interaction. You can have a laugh and a joke. You can look at things a little bit more. You can get a different perspective from somebody else that you wouldn't get normally. So that's what I'm really excited for. I'm really excited to just get people on, whether that's 2 or 3 people, or if it's just me and another person, and just chat away. That's the reason why I enjoy podcasts in general. Podcasts are one of my favourite forms of medium at the minute, because I can pick them up, I can listen to them for about 10-15 minutes on the way to driving somewhere, or walking somewhere, and then just turn them off and chat to somebody else when I'm on my own again, listen to a podcast. And yeah, that is just the way I am consuming media at the minute. I also have a long backlog of video games to play. I also have a long backlog of movies to watch, a long backlog of TV shows to watch, anime to watch, etc, etc. Because I enjoy the medium so much, I like to consume as much as possible, but I don't like consume it all at once. I consume it a little bit there, here and there. But then there's sometimes where I'll really put hours and focus into stuff. So yeah. Well, one thing that we might do is getting somebody on Thursday or on the next podcast to talk about the new Overwatch event that is literally is going to be coming out the day of this podcast, which is the 10th of October. It'll be the 9th when I'm recording it, but the 10th of October is when this podcast is going live. And I'm excited to see what Overwatch are doing with the skins, what they'll be bringing gameplay wise with like their events, because they really do a stellar job every single time they have an event. So yeah, wrapping up the end of the podcast. We've got about 3 minutes left, so all I want to say is stick with the podcast. It's going to be a bit up and down at the minute. It was a little bit up and down when I was doing it before, but we kind of got into a rhythm of meeting every week, recording, putting the podcast up generically, no gameplay or anything like that. I would like to expand it to the point where I can get cameras on and just me and get our expressions of how we would talk about certain games, how we would, talk about certain aspects like the news and what we're looking forward to, and then there's sometimes where we can just ad-lib off each other and we can kind of go on tangents that won't really be connected to a specific topic, but it's just fun to talk about. Talking to people is fun. I enjoy talking to people through the internet, in person, etc. It's just one of those things. I even enjoy talking to myself. It's like I enjoy the sound of my own voice a little bit, but then I also want you guys to enjoy the dulcet tones of my voice. But that's where I'm going. That's the idea of the podcast. Really laid back and really chilled. And yeah, hopefully you guys will stick with that. If you've been a long time subscriber, thank you very much. If you've listened to this far into the podcast, thank you very much. And as always, I'm very, very appreciative of any support that I get, any comments on Twitter, any comments on videos. I'll always read them, and that is just how I'm going. So maybe I'll try and get this on iTunes and also try and get this on out more regularly. But yeah, so I'm going to wrap the podcast up here, and thank you ever so much for listening, watching, however you are consuming my voice, and hopefully you will join me for the next podcast. So this has been Jimbo, or this has been It's Jimbo, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.